Hello everybody and welcome to round 14 of the SLR T1 League, and today we are heading to Monza, the Temple of Speed, where under the bright sun of this circuit.
Under the bright sun.
Oh bollocks. As soon as I try and do something enthusiastic towards the commentary, my dad walks in the room and starts taking the piss. Anyway, welcome everybody. We've got 16 runners here today as we head round the Monza circuit for the 7th time in the league's history, interesting enough, and we're on board with the Ferrari of SLR Blunt in front of the Tifosi. He'll be hoping to get close to the pole position. He hasn't got a pole position this season, obviously. Neither of the Ferrari cars have. So he'll be hoping to put that record straight today in the Scuderia. And there's a lot of Brazilian flags in that stand. Quite surprised about that. To be at Monza either way. But obviously the favourite will probably have to be Calca's in the Papaya McLaren, going around. And he's shown some really nice pace in time trial and practice sessions, and obviously last week's race winner from this man Doan, who was very unlucky not to win. He chose the right strategy, but in the end it didn't really work out for him. He's joined Livid Racing this week, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get up there as well. Also got J2, who decided to race today. It'll be interesting to see where he lines up with these guys. But looking at the people finishing their lap, we're going to go on board with SLR Blunt in the Ferrari. We're coming around the final corner. Will they be able to get anywhere near the 18s is where I'm expecting the poles to be. Surface comes across around with 19.3. Here goes Blunt with a 19.1. So a solid first lap from the Ferrari drivers. I'll just load everything up for everybody. As you noticed, I've gone with the PS4 broadcast instead of the PC broadcast. I just feel like it's not quite ready yet for to be using, so we're going to stick with quality over the quantity type thing. As Doan is currently on provisional pole of an 18.8. I've always said it was going to be an 18 this pole lap, but he's managed to get any 18s already. Savis has binned it, I think, into the chicane here, but he's out of qualifying, so that's no good start for the Ferrari drivers. As Rekim Messina goes up to P1 in the McLaren, and it could be a very strong showing for the McLarens here. No, it loses it in the second Lesmo, just on the outside of the AstroTurf, I presume. Kalkas is yet to put a lap in, but I expect him to come into the pits at the end of this lap. But there's some nice times coming in. CPI Connor with a 0.1 there, looking further back. Danny's going to come across the line now. He's not on a lap though, neither is Skin Up. Dario is, the Italian, in the Red Bull. Will he be able to get anywhere close to the front of this grid? It's a 0.2, and it's only a 0.2. I mean, it's half a second off, and I can't even do that in time trial. So, it shows how competitive this grid is. Anyone out there on a lap? Nick Gorlon in laps. And we'll go again, Millix with a 0.3 as well in the Racing Point. Baby Shark is getting a little bit held up. I don't think he's on a lap though. There's Alfa Romeo showing how it's done. CYP having a bit of a spin. A bit of a clumsy spin as well. Kind of slow motion in the background. As we'll go on board with J2, I think, as he starts his lap. Will he be able to get close to the top of the times? going into turn 1, breaking down second gear into the first corner, first into the second. It's quite a mouthful to say that. As he heads now down into turn number 3. Well, turn number 4, because the Curva Grande obviously counts as a turn in. He's purple through the first sector, is the Mercedes, which is interesting. So will he be able to get close to Reke Mesa's time at the top of the standings? I wonder. Will the Dutchman in the Mercedes car, as he comes around the middle sector now, will he be going purple through the middle sector? I wonder. He's come through the detection zone. No, he's not purple in the middle sector, only the first. As we get a... It's actually a great camera angle to go through Ascari, seeing what line he takes through the famous corner. And he takes it pretty nicely indeed as he heads around the final corner now. And this will be a fairly decent lap. He hasn't really made any mistakes from where I'm standing. Well, sitting, really. But here he is across the line. Will he be able to challenge the top of the timesheets? It's only a 0.2 after being purple in the first sector. Interestingly enough. And it's very competitive out there. On surface is only on a 0.3 down in 9th. He's nearly half a second off pole. He'll be hoping to improve on his time to really challenge at the top of the timesheets over the championship leader, the reigning champion. Didn't have the best of weeks last week. He's kind of in a bit of a slump at the moment and needs to try and put that right. Hasn't won in a while as the Renault driver. And hoping to crush the skull of the McLarens, really, who are the team to beat at the moment. Seem to have picked up a bit of form since Reke Messina joined the team. As we head through the first Lesmo, using all the curb, and the second Lesmo using 4th gear just to get a bit of turn in there. It's quite unusual. It's usually just 5th gear, chuck it in and hope for the best. But it's going pretty well so far for the Renault driver. He's not going purple though, he's only going a 10th up. But obviously with this track being so short and so close, that 10th is a lot of time. For example, he'll be going up to P7 at the moment, maybe even P6 with that time, but nothing really more than that for surfaces. He runs wide onto the curb and he's going to come straight into the pits. And everybody's on outlaps, I think, but Blunt isn't. I think he's on a fast one in the Ferrari. Will he be able to get a bit closer to the top of the timesheets? I'm sure there's more time in it for some of these guys. We have Blunt coming around the final corner now. Will he be able to get him close to Messina at the top of the timesheets? As Doan does a 1:18.5 to take provisional pole, and what a lap that is. He's been really, really good in qualifying recently. Got pole last week. Did he get pole last week? I don't think he did. I think he got second. But he got him off the long... Yeah, he did. He got P2 and then got the... Yeah, ignore me. Got Reke Messina starting his lap. Kalka's getting the draft off Dario. But he's given up on the lap. And he's going to overtake Dario on track, just trying to get a bit of clean air. And that's the thing, getting the draft is important in this lap. And I think Dome would have got a nice pull along the straight. And he's basically gagging for the win. He's so unlucky in so many times. As someone who could challenge that is Milik. So he comes up with a few very nice laps in the season, but all the rest of them aren't that great. The minute he's in P9, he's 2/10 up on his time, which will get him probably around Kalkas, who's set a 1:19.1 at the moment in P4. But will he come into the pits? No, he's just taking a shortest lane to the right, and here goes Milik, and he goes P2. 2 thousandths ahead of Reke Mesa, and that shows how close it really is. And I'm pretty sure that the likes of Kalkas, Connor have got a little bit more in this. Connor's on a lap at the moment, but we're going to see if someone's a bit further around. Dario is just starting his lap. But we'll stay on board with Connor, who's nearly 10th up on his time. Will he be able to get into the 18s as the track obviously evolves throughout the session? You expect that they'll get quicker and quicker, and Doan's time will become more under threat. But what lap it is at the moment, 2.5 tenths clear for anybody at the moment. And Connor backs off his lap, so he's obviously messed up in a Ascari. On board with Dario, who's 2 tenths up in the first sector, and he's purple of anybody in the Red Bull. As he chucks it into the first Lesmo and into the second. Will Dario be the man to be able to get anywhere near the Mercedes at the top of the timesheet? And talking about the race as well, it looks like it's going to be a one-stop, and the slipstream train will be pretty insane unless there's some battling along the way, which makes it for a great race. Last year's season's race was exceptional. Remember Owen commentating on that as there's a Renault off track. I presume that's Danny, not Surface, in the turn 1. But here comes Dario around the final corner. Will he be able to get across the line and get anywhere near that pole? It's a 19.0 but invalidated. It'd have been P5. So it's very close. Jens is nearly 10th up on his time. And oh, there goes Kiski. Again in the wall. He loves a bit of a crashing qualifying, does Kiski. He did it in Hungary as well. But we're going to go on board with Jens, who's nearly 2 tenths up, 2.5 tenths up. Well, nearly 3 tenths up in fact. So this will get him close to where Kiski's time is at the moment as he comes around the final corner in the Mercedes. I think Dome might have given him a little bit of a tow down the back straights. And here comes Jens to the line. Will he be able to get close? It's a 0.9, so he's within 4 tenths of Dome at the moment. So nice lap from the Mercedes. He's starting to show his pace in T1. But really, it's been a difficult qualifying for quite a few guys out there. Especially, let's say, Kalka's Surface is only down in P10 at the moment. And he will definitely be hoping to improve on his time. Starting P10 is a massive disadvantage. Obviously, this field is so close at the moment. And 18.5 is a brilliant lap from Dome. But here comes Surface around the final corner. Will he be able to just jump a few places? Because a 19.3 is fairly average. The sort of lap I could probably do. There you go, Surface, and it's a 18.9, so that's an improvement. Obviously, the best of, let's say, the rest. No one's really getting really near Millix and Wrecking Mesa at the moment. Jens isn't improving on his lap. Here we come back into the pits. Kalkas is nearly a 10th up on him, but I'd be surprised if he completes the lap, to be honest. Probably expected him to come back into the pits and putting our fresh boots on, especially after that mistake. Unless it's, yeah, he validated it. And that leaves Kalkas down in P7, and he's the man under pressure, especially with Connor as well. And here comes the Pirate round the final corner. Will the Pirate be able to put himself in the mix? I wonder. As he comes round the final corner to come across the line. And it's a 19.2, and he didn't improve on his lap, on his time, on his position, should I say. As, yeah, it's very close. I mean, Dario's on a 19.2, and he's at 11th. So that shows how close these guys are at the moment. Obviously, Doan's the class of the field at the moment, and no one really seems to be touching that time. Is anything happening in the chat? No, everybody's concentrating. And really trying to push for that best lap, the optimal lap. The lap of gods almost. Waiting to it. Blunt's going out early for his final run. Maybe going for the 2 or 3 runs. Maybe 2 runs, 3 laps might kill the tyres off by then. Also Connor's out there. Kiski and Millix. I don't know who's going to be first across the line to start their laps. The Pirate's coming into the pits before he does his last run. Got CYP out there on a lap. He jumps into the pits before his last run as well. He's on a 19.4 as CYP. Only 9 tenths off pole, and he's down in P12. And then we've got Baby Shark and Skin Up on times they know they can probably beat. The only people not in the 119s at the moment. I know the likes of Blunt, CPR, Connor have started their laps. Connor is a 10th up on his time at the moment. There's Kiski a bit further down the road now. I think Connor's the furthest one round, but he's giving it up. And he's got a McLaren behind him. Yeah, he's got Wrecking Me, so he just wants to get on with it a little bit. We've also got a few people out there on outlaps. We're going to go on board with Kiski, who seems to be the furthest one round of the people on laps in the Alfa Romeo. He's quite a decent lap, and 89 is nothing to be laughed at, let's put it that way. And he's only down in P6 at the moment. But how much quicker can this Alfa go? He's 10th down. Any time he needs to improve on. I wonder if he'll just give up on this lap. It doesn't seem like he is. It looks like he's given everything through the last few corners. We've got Dario just in behind, or is it Skin Up? I'm not quite sure. One of the Red Bulls. As he comes around the final corner now, will he be able to get closer to the pole? No, he's 10th down. He gained a little bit for that last sector, and there goes Dario. It was Dario to the line, who got a slipstream all the way down, and that's an 18.8 from Dario, and that puts him P4. He'd be happy with that lap. But none of the championship leaders really out there doing anything. I mean, Kalkas is up by half a tenth. I don't know how bad his Ascari was or how good it was. But he really needs to find some time to really get anywhere, and Kalkas is out. And so is Kiski as well. And that's a big crash from Kalkas, and he will only start a max P8. But everybody's coming into the pits. We've got the Pirate and CYP yet to do their runs, and the same with Baby Shark. Baby Shark's out of the session. Yet to do their runs. We're going to look towards the front of the field. Dario is on an outlap, so we're going to discount him from this pole battle. And Doan's going through Ascari. Wrecking Mesa is going to be next across the line. He's nearly 10th down though, so it doesn't look like he's going to get anywhere near the pole time, but he's going to give it everything either way. Oh, he gets very close. A 10th off the pole. As Milix is going up on his time as well. Surface as well. But we're going to go to the pole man. He's next across the line. 700ths down in the end. And that would have been enough for Paul. Milix gives up on the lap. And now it's only Surface and Jens really to challenge that pole time. Blunt only down in P10 with 0.1. And I wonder if the Pirate can knock him out of that top 10. He needs minimal improvement to get into it, but here comes Surface round the final corner. Will he be getting anywhere near pole position? We don't know what his sectors are like. A 0.6 and it gets him P3. Wow, wow, wow. We've got Jens still to come to the line, who's improving on his time just slightly. Will he be able to get ahead of Dario? He needs to find a lot more time though in it, I think. He's going to take the shortest run to the line, and he does get Dario with a 0.7. So nice run at the end of qualifying as Jens gets P4 on the grid, and it's very, very competitive at the front of the field, and I'm really looking forward to the race. As it was Doan in the end who was the class of the field, a 10th clear of anybody, and even his second run there could have got in pole position, but it would have been very, very close. With Wrecking Mesa in P2, just a 10th back, with Surface 1900ths down, 19,000ths down on, basically 200ths down on Wrecking Mesa, with Jens P4, Milix P5, Dario P6, Kiski P7, Kalkas P8, CYP Connor P9, Blunt P10. In the end, Pirate did not improve, he's in P11, CYP P12, Baby Shark P13, and then we've got obviously Skin Up, Savis and Danny at the back of the field. So yeah, this should be very interesting. It's a little bit cloudy to start the race, so I wonder if there will be some rain in this race. The tyre compounds they use at the start would probably outside of the top 10 probably signifies what the weather's going to do, but obviously starting on the soft tyre is a big advantage because qualifying obviously you can set a really, really nice lap. As the guys at the front of the field start, but obviously it's dangerous to start in the middle of the pack, especially going into turn 1 with it obviously being a really, really tight corner. and obviously it tightens up on exit as well, and if you get in the wrong battles at the wrong time, you're in trouble. So it'll be very interesting to see, obviously, what happens into turn 1. Will there be a safety car? Will there be, what kind of incidents? Will someone bottle it? And it's very easy, especially when you're going at such high speed, for the back end just to slide out and kill you, basically through the Lesmos or Ascari, especially. Obviously on that exit curb is very dangerous going over that. But to just get all the info to be discussed, and as you can see, 4 of the 6 starting outside the top 10 is on the medium tyres, so going for a slightly different strategy outside of that. Just gonna get all the info up. So going through the grid, we've got the Mercedes of Doan on pole position today with a very good lap of a 18.5, 100% chance of a safety car, says Kendon. Yeah, there wasn't one in A1 yesterday, I don't think, which is quite a surprise. But yeah, it's more than likely to come out, especially after the patch that came out about a month ago. With Surface now in P3 behind Recce Mesa, he'll be hoping to get a move on. Connor has left the session in P9, he'll be able to get back in though, but he'll be to a severe disadvantage. With Jens P4, we've got Milix in P5, one of his better qualifyings of the year. With Dario in P6, who put in a really good lap. It looked like he was going to be up there, but he's all the way down in P6, I'm afraid. With Kiski P7, Kalkas in P8, he'll be hoping he can do a bit better, and he knows he's got a bit more pace than that. Judging by from what I've heard anyway, he definitely can do a little bit better. And catch up with his championship rival. With CYP Connor P9, Blunt P10, Pirate P11, the CYP P12, Baby Shark P13, Skin Up P14, Savis, and then Danny starting last, where he loves to start the good, and he's going to keep them all waiting as he keeps his tyres heated up. And now it will be very, very, very interesting to see what happens into turn 1. Who will be the biggest gainer? Who will be the biggest loser? There's definitely going to be some controversy, that's for sure, as I'm stumbling across my words today. But yeah, I'm hoping for a really exciting race as we wait for all the cars to line up on the grid. And now they are all lined up. We are ready to go to lights out, as we are now 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. The Mercedes did move, it looked like, but it looks like a very, very good start by Jens. Or is this span it? It might be a bit of lag in the end, but it's an easy start by Dome with Recce Mesa. It looked like he was going to go side by side with Jens, but he's gone backwards somehow. And he's down in P10 at the moment with Surface in P3. Milix P4, obviously making that position. Jens has left the session, unfortunately. So we've got Connor and Jens both out of the session. We've got Kalkas all the way up into P5 now due to that. He's going to look into Milix, and it doesn't look like he's found the space to be able to make that stick. Jens is going backwards, obviously his ghost car, and so is Connor's. And I'm on board with Blunt at the moment, as yeah, not much else has happened except for the Pirate is now in last place, so he's had an incident into turn 1 it seems. But the Ferraris aren't doing too well, 8th and 14th for the at the moment in front of the Tifosi. We've got the Alpha of Kiski in P7, but yeah, fairly steady start from everybody. I think they realise that going for something bold in the first lap isn't the best move to go for. Just be patient and the race will come to you possibly. As Dario, the Italian, is looking at Kalkas as Jens has got back in the session, interestingly enough, so he'll be able to get back in his car in not a bad position. He's only 4 tenths off the rear of the field, so it's not over and done with for him. As Danny has managed to get himself into the top 10 ahead of Baby Shark. Here goes Baby Shark round the outside though of Danny, and a bit of wheel banging, but it's all fair game it seems, as Danny's on the grass, so Baby Shark's going to get that position. And Surface has overtaken Doan. Doan's made a mistake, because Recce Mesa is now leading the race. So Doan, again, not taking advantage of the position he puts himself in, and he's found himself down in P3. now, and slightly under threat from Milix, and he's got it all to do. And that's not really what he wants. I'm going to go on board with Kalkas as he looks towards the front of the field. We've got Milix as well. Into Ascari we go. Obviously on heavy fuel it's going to be extremely difficult to keep the car in a straight line in these early stages of the race. We've also got Dario, who will be very anxious to make an impression on the front of the field. Also, Wrecking Mesa's already pulled outside the DRS, which is very important for him. It means he can run his own pace without the worry of maybe the DRS or the slipstream really coming to effect. He sets the fastest lap of the race for 22.2 on the opening lap of this Grand Prix. Here goes Dario with a bit of slipstream on Kalkas. Will he fancy his chances? I think he'll just hold off for now. With Kiski getting very close to the rear of the Red Bull as well. So the slipstream train is starting to come into effect that we spoke about earlier. But here comes Kiski on Dario. He's going to try and make a move. He's very close to the Red Bull driver. He's going to look to the inside. Not quite. Dario defends it quite well. And I feel like Kiski got a little bit of tap there, but maybe it was just the car reacting through the spectator lag a little bit. But here is your order. We've got Wrecking Mesa leading the way from surface, Doan, Milix and Kalkas in the top 5, with Dario coming under massive pressure from Kiski, who wants to get a move on now. But it's important Dario stays within DRS of Kalkas at this point of the race. Obviously penalties will play a big part in this race as well. It's easier to pick up warnings around here, especially in Ascari. It's very easy just to turn in that a little bit too early on the eagerness of the steering, but he's okay at the moment. Doan is looking to get surface, who should be a sitting duck. Obviously he hasn't got DRS ahead of him, so it'll be interesting to see if this this Mercedes can get past the Renault. And here he goes. The overspeed is starting to kick in as surface goes and tries to defend the inside a little bit, just a little bit of a shimmy, but nothing overly defensive. And Dario is still ahead of Kiski as the slipstream train is coming to effect. There's an incident in Sector 1, and that's quite a big incident. A bit of a pile-up from the cars in behind. No safety car on this occasion, but it's made the group into 2 groups, the top 9, and then everybody else, because I think Pirate, maybe Danny was involved there. So we've got 2 groups now. And 7.5 seconds on around this track is a big gap. And that'll be very difficult for any of them guys to make up. So they'll have to hope for a safety car almost to make that up again. I think Baby Shark and Danny caused that incident as Jens makes his way into the points. But that is a battle for the final point. On the grid is the Pirate, seems to have gone spinning round. Or has he just had a mistake? Here goes Connor on the inside of Skin Up as the faster drivers start to come to the front of this. Obviously Skin Up has had some decent results this season, but due to generally retirements and things like that, has never really set the world alight with his pace. But looking further forward, it's getting rather defensive and rather desperate for surface at this point. It looks like Doan's going to work his way past. He's going to allow Doan to have the inside line as he slightly cuts the corner, but gets away with it. And Wrecking Mesa is not pulling away like he would like to. So the gap's starting to stay the same. And now Doan will be able to press on and try and make his way into the lead of the race, hopefully, as we're on board with the McLaren teammates of Wrecking Messina. And Kalkas is heading through Lesmo 1 at the moment. And Dario's kind of keeping within that DRS. Blunt's starting to drop off a little bit. You can still see the train, but is kind of dropping off with CYP dropping off altogether, obviously, and then medium tyres. Might come back to him later on, but for now he's in his own race. And just got to be patient as there's a little bit of a tap there, a bit of a love tap by Kiski, well held by Dario. But here goes Kiski as he went off track there to try and make the overtake, and gets a bit of overspeed, and he should get the move done into the Parabolica. Around the outside goes Dario, but with the inside line Kiski should get the grip. And Connor has had an incident down in P14, and that could be him out the race at this point. But here goes Dario back on Kiski, obviously with DRS. They're getting very close to the wall, and there wasn't much room there indeed. And last late breakers of Dario was got past the Alpha and back up into P6. Nice battle by these two, obviously getting very, very up close and personal. But here goes Kiski again, around the outside of the Curb de Grande. And it looks like he's going to get an inside line, and if you're on the outside this could be very dangerous because there's no space, and Dario's round, and that was fairly predictable. And there goes, oh, Surface is round, and mistakes are creeping in. So Surface, I don't know if he was having a go at Doan or something, but he's now down into P8, and these sort of mistakes creeping. Obviously going side by side through there is suicide, we all know that. I mean, Dario was on the outside, he should have just let it go and then got him on DRS somewhere else. It's not a great move to be making. Or I don't know if Surface just made a genuine mistake, a rare genuine mistake. Vettel racer joins the session for some reason. But here goes Doan, who seems to have picked up the pace, seems to have a little bit more pace than Messina at the moment. As you head into turn 1, will Doan be able to take the lead of the race? No, he plays it smart. He's got plenty of opportunity, plenty of laps to make this move. He just needs to bide his time. Milix doesn't quite keep up at the moment, so Kalka seems to be in a separate battle, but Kalka seems to have the pace to be able to keep up with the front guys if he can get past Milix, which will be interesting. Kiski's 2 seconds back, obviously because of the Surface battle. Obviously them two spinning backwards. Obviously Surface and Dario are now going to be well behind, and Jens all of a sudden has half a chance of catching these guys with CIP in a world of his own, but just running his own race in P7 is playing it nice. Same with Blunt really, he's about 2 seconds back, not really battling, but here goes Kalkas. Oh, he thought about it into Ascari. That would have been again a bit of a tough move to be making, but he's got 2 straights now as Danny leaves the session. I think that's just a problem there with the internet connection. Now as we head around Ascari, we're going to go off board with Kalkas as he's got the rev glitch, which sounds horrific, I must say. We've also got Doan and Messina going at it again. Will this Doan have time now? It looks like he's going to take the lead. Messina doesn't fight it, realises that he's got his own race to run. Kalkas makes his way into P3 as well, so Kalkas is moving his way up through the field, and I've got to say Doan's probably biggest threat in this race will probably be Kalkas, just like last week really, with Surface nowhere to be seen, looking to try and do a recovery drive, but this might be a bit too much for him. We'll look at the championship standings while we're here. I'm not 100%, I haven't looked at them this week to tell you where they're at. Oh, Blunt's round. Another mistake. And it's survival of the fittest out there at the moment. They seem to all be making mistakes at the same places. Blunt's now tyres have overheated a lot as Danny rejoins the session, but the mistakes are really creeping in here with these guys. What? I just went on the standings. Form responses. What does that mean? Anyway, I'll talk to about that there. The championship gap, Kalkas is 43 points behind Surface at the moment, and this will make a big difference. Obviously Surface then pick up 4 points and Kalkas 18, as Doan seems to be now pulling away a little bit, and that's really important for him is Messina, Dario and Messina's only there, so I think Messina might have made a mistake somewhere because Dario is not far behind him. That is not a big gap, as both Ferraris seem to find themselves into the top 10 now. And Dario comes out the pits, and Surface at the rear of this in P13. But yeah, the gap between Surface and Kalkas is 43 points. If it stays as it is, obviously Surface is outside the points, but say you've got a 14 point swing that would be 29 points and make things interesting. Is a virtual safety car. The first safety car of the day comes out due to Baby Shark's retirement. And that will be the first virtual safety car. There's no safety car out as of yet, but this will just prolong the pace. And I wonder if Kaukas will join Doan in the pits. They do come into the pits, but it's sort of the wrong time as we're only just going racing. I'm expecting CYP to take the lead of this race. There he goes. And CYP will take the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, a race he could have won in Season 5. He got very, very close to winning it. Jens is carrying on as well, so he's in V2 in the Mercedes. Savis will also carry on, so he's going to come out and be almost the roadblock for these guys. The first roadblock they'll come across, as Kaukas has gained a lot on Doan. Maybe just come into the pit lane around a second. So that's very interesting. More aggressive pit lane entry, it seems, from Kaukas, but I don't think he's got any penalties as yet. I'm going to look at the penalty situation. He's got 3 warnings. One will be a contact. No penalties for Jens. No penalties for Savis. No penalties for Doan. No penalties for Kaukas. 1 warning for Milix. No penalties for Kiski. No penalties. No penalties. No penalties. No penalties. It's a lot more consistent than usual. I mean, first penalty is down in P12 for the Pirate. So fair play. Well, Darius just picked up 1. So that's the end of that conversation. But 2 penalties from the top 12. That's solid. Fair play to them. And that's what Kaukas will be hoping for. A few mistakes from Doan, getting that penalty that he seems to always get every race. That extra penalty that he doesn't really need to be making. Even in this race, 2.2 seconds is quite a big gap. So he can almost not take his time. He still has to push out harder. But he's got... he doesn't have to take too many risks at this point in the race. Maybe later. Save his tyres. Save his ERS a little bit. And wait for the attack that will be coming. As Jens is into the pits, he's going to come out. Probably where Blunt is. Just behind Blunt. Just in front of Blunt. There goes Jens into P10. There's Milix. In P5 is the closest person to making an overtake on track. Just within a second of Kaukas. But that's just slowly dropping out of that as Doan is closing in on Savis, and that's where the problems will start as Messina picks up a penalty. And he's slipped behind Kiski as well. So he's made a mistake somewhere after being overtaken by Kaukas, it seems. Maybe he come together with Milix. Just speculating, I'm not 100% sure, as Doan looks like he's going to be making his move on Savis this lap. The Ferrari who's on the podium at the moment. Ferrari's not having a great day though, he still has to pit. And he'll be hoping for a VSC or a safety car somewhere. Here there goes Doan. Will he look to the outside or the inside? It looks like he's just going to fly past on the inside. Not really a defence from the Ferrari. And that won't be great for the Tifosi. Just making sure he doesn't punt the rear of that Mercedes. And next up is Kaukas, has now got caught between him and Doan will be trying to use this just to pull away a little bit. Obviously traffic will become a problem there, and Doan has got an 8-second gap to CYP, he might not actually catch that. And CYP probably is looking to come out ahead of Surface, somewhere out there, Surface Dario. Ahead of that lot, between Messina and Dario. Which would be nice to see the Finnish driver doing something. He's been rather inconsistent of late. So, he's in P13 in the championship. His highest finish is 6th, and that was in round 2. Hasn't really done anything. Only 18 points this season, so he's not had the best. out there. Yes, here goes Kalkas down the straight as Doan sets the fastest lap of the race. And what a time to pull the fastest lap of the race. Here goes Kalkas on Savis. And that is him up onto the back onto the podium. As we're going into sector 2. Looks to be further back as Milix is now crowded out a little bit. And Milix really needs to strike while the iron's hot. Or at least lukewarm. Savis chose to go defensive initially, but decided that it wasn't his fight. So it's fair play to him getting out of the way of the leaders. I mean, we all like a fight, but for the sake of this battle, it's not worth it. As Connor works his way past Skin Up for P13 for the wooden spring, basically. As Danny speeds in the pit lane. And I think he might be retiring his car. Oh, Milix. Good save. But Savis is going to stream straight back past. Milix nearly lost it in a Ascari, but it was a really nice save as we got a yellow flag for a retirement of Danny. But he did it in the pit lane. So I'm not expecting a safety car. There's the Danny car retiring on track for some reason. So we've still got the yellow flag in sector 1, but it's not really going to bring out a safety car, I don't think. Although it is a very long yellow flag. The closest battles on track, obviously Savage has been re-overtaken by Milix. Kiski is now closer to Milix than Milix is to Kalkas after that mistake. It really is survival of the fittest. In a minute, the fittest is Doan. He hasn't really made a mistake out there. Obviously, CIP yet to make a mistake, and Kalkas hasn't made a mistake all race. And that's what keeping him in contention. But don't forget, disconnections still can happen. Kalkas is disconnected from the lead of Germany, I think. And he should have really won that race. And was really unlucky, and that really dents his chances in the championship. And the surface only down in P9. It shows really after qualifying up there. I think losing it at I don't know what that corner's called. Let me have a look. Oh, the Della Roggia chicane. That's it. As I'm trying to figure out my track names. Kiski's got past Savis up into P5 now. And it won't be long until them medium runners are in the pits, probably end of this lap. Oh, turn one's the Retifilio. Okay. I know majority of track corners, it's just the odd few I can't remember. There's Skin Up expenses as they start raining in, but here goes Jens and Surface are coming close to him. Surface is lacking pace. He was on the back of Dario and now he's 3 seconds back. He just doesn't have the pace today. It's not his day. It's not been a good day for him for the last few weeks, to be fair. His last race win, Germany? No. he wins that. Story of my life. But back to the race. Yeah, the last win Surface had was Great Britain, and that was 4 races ago. So he's on a bit of a barren spell. Obviously winning. And up to that point, really, hadn't been off the podium. They obviously got a podium in Belgium. Pretty much out of luck. Didn't start Hungary because he wanted to do some AOR practice to see what he could do. Germany only got 4 points, but Kalkas DNF'd. Kalkas didn't start Hungary, and obviously won last week. And the only other race winner this season has been Connor, and Doan hasn't really been someone who's been. He's been close, but he hasn't made it happen yet, and he's currently leading the way. As it looks like Jens is going to make the move on Surface and him up into P8. If the championship leader just slips down, this would be his worst result of the season. If he finishes in P9. I don't know if he's got front wing damage or something. I don't know if that contributes towards anything. It doesn't look like it, he's just struggling for pace. Maybe overheats the tyres, not used to the mediums on this track. But there's no doubt Surface is a very capable driver. But mistakes today was creeped in. Now Doan is looking at taking the actual lead of the Grand Prix. He's provisionally leading it, as Savis is pit in the last lap. I expect CIP to come into the pits now, but that gives Doan the DRS, and it'd be interesting to see where CIP comes out. I'm presuming just behind wrecking Messina possibly, as Kiski gets past Milix for the final podium spot on the straight. So Milix's day gets a little bit worse. He'll be hoping he can get back onto that podium. Obviously, he's got a penalty. I'll check the penalty situation for the top 5, I'd say. So we've got Dome with only a warning. Kalkas also with only a warning. Kiski has a penalty, and so does Milix. So they're in that race. Milix is close to getting another one as well. Dara's got a penalty. Messina has a penalty. Surface is now up in P7. Now obviously because I'm on pit, I didn't take that one into consideration. And also he's repassed Jens. And I'm expecting CIP to get back into this, as I think Pirate retired from the race in the pit lane, so the safety car won't come out. That's something we've given to all our drivers: retire in the pit lane if you're going to retire, unless you crash it. Here comes Jens on the final corner. Is he going to overtake Surface? Opens the DRS. Will he be able to get past the Renault? It looks like he's going to try and make his move into turn 1. And he shows him his nose, but he doesn't get past, as Dario got past Messina for P5. Or did he? Or did Messina already start behind him? I'm not 100% sure. My memory's going a little bit. Milix, 7 tenths off of Kiski, just keeping within the DRS but not really threatening. Kiski 1.6 behind Kalkas, who's really dropping off of Doan. It seems like Doan's finally got this one fairly in the bag, and he's finally might win a race. He's got 3-second gaps, so even if he picked up a penalty, he'd be fairly okay. The person I'm really interested in looking at is CYP, see if he can do anything with fresh soft tyres. Obviously got 8 laps, 9 laps. Take an impression on that top 10. I think the best he could probably do is 7th. Obviously on them fresh tyres. He's got a 2-second gap to Blunt, who's got a 2-second gap to Jens, and then obviously Surface. Going around the Parabolica now. And then obviously 4-second gap to Messina, but that's a bit too much for him to make up, I think. Savis might be able to get top 10 if he pulls his finger out, and here goes Messina into the Rettifilio around the outside, and it looks like he's gonna make the move, and he's made it stick. So that's what Messina back into P5. Obviously he led the race early on, but after a few mistakes has ended up quite far down on the leaders. Kiski's showing some nice pace today. I mean, in qualifying he binned it, but obviously light fuel, the car is quite twitchy. And obviously depending on setup, depends on how much downforce you've got and things like that. If you're running a low wing setup, which you do here at Monza, less downforce, the more twitchy it is, and obviously it's difficult to control. And that's the nature of it, getting the right setup, getting the right balance on the car. And that's what seems what Doan's got at the moment. He's pretty comfortable out there. It looks like he's going to claim the victory today. On board with Dario. CYP picks up a penalty, getting a bit too eager through Ascari, but he's not gaining too much on Blunt. He just hopes for a bit of battling between these two. Head down the main straight for the 21st time. This Grand Prix, only 6 laps to go. It's gone quite quick today. And Dario is trying to make the impression of the rear of that McLaren. You see a lot of rears in these battles because DRS keeps you in range, but it's very difficult. It's very easy to overtake, but when you overtake it's very difficult to pull away. You just get re-overtaken again, especially if you've got DRS ahead of you. It's pretty difficult to pull away again. As Kalkas is dropping back into Kiski and Milix a little bit. So his P2 isn't a certainty, it's going to come under threat here. And Milix picks up another penalty, I think that's his third. So that pretty much confirms that Kiski... I'm trying to have a look at the penalty situation. That's his second penalty. Kiski has 1. And Kalkas, the only thing that's saving grace, he hasn't got any more penalties. But neither is Doan, but it looks like Doan has been threatening to win a race for a while. And it looks like finally he's going to get there. I think he led Germany, he led Belgium, and he's leading here. He led Hungary, and now he's leading here. Well, this is his 4th race in a row he's had a chance to win. He could have won all 4, and that would have made things very interesting for him in the championship. Obviously 89 points off the lead. Only had 4 podiums, well, 5 podiums of 14 races, but he deserves a win. As we head round the Lesmo 2, it looks like Kiski is getting very, very close to Kalkas, who seems to really struggling now on them tyres. I don't know if he's got damage or something. It doesn't look like it, just genuinely struggling, and that's a bit of a corner cut from Kiski, but with a bit of DRS now it looks like Kalkas' P2 is going to get relinquished. Obviously with the penalties the guys behind have got, you're not really a threat for that P2 unless they can pull 3 or 4 seconds on Kalkas. But Kalkas can pretty much forget about that race win. As under DRS now, Kiski is going to make the move on the McLaren to the inside. Kalkas doesn't fight it. I think he knows the penalty situation. And that is Kalkas down into P3, but obviously still P2 with the penalties. Messina is still looking at getting that P5 after Dario. And CYP is getting past Blunt for what is P9. And Savis really hasn't caught up on them soft tyres. I don't know if he's made a mistake somewhere, but hasn't really caught up. And now CYP's got 5 laps to catch, 2.5 seconds to surface. And look at Jens, they're right there. So now he's going to start really putting the hammer down, I think. Just needs a few good laps. I don't know what the penalty situation with CYP is. I'm pretty sure CYP's actually got a penalty. Yeah, he's got the 1. So IP surface has 2 warnings, 1 away though, and Jens doesn't even have a warning. But Kalkas is now going to come under a little bit of threat from Milix, who seems to be just have a bit more confidence in the car. As Kiske is starting to chase down Doan, he's closed the gap by about 4 or 5 tenths this last lap. I don't know if Doan's taking it steady, but Kiske is going to make an effort of trying to win this race. And Doan will try his best to bottle it again, I'm pretty sure. But at the moment he's leading with a 3.4 second lead. And he's running out of ERS as well, which isn't going to help him. So these thought could be all together by the end of this race if Doan's not careful. He's only there as he comes towards the finishing line. This is the hardest bit of a race, finishing it off, especially when you're leading. The nerves start kicking in. He's been in this race position for the last 3 races before this one, so surely he can win one. And if he picks up a penalty, that makes things very interesting. As he's 1 warning away, picked one up on the last lap. If he picks up another penalty, Kalkas could be in for the win. This could be a grandstand finish we've got on our hands. Let's head on to lap 25. I don't know if he just saved the ERS lap. No, he didn't. He's really struggling. I think Kalkas is not really getting that much as much as Kiske is. With 3 laps to go, he has to lose a second a lap to really put any pressure on him. Or he gets a penalty, and that would put some pressure on him. Some real pressure. There goes Messina and Dario into turn 1. He's not quite close enough to making the move. Right around the curb, the Grande on board with surface. CIP is caught up nearly 2 seconds on that lap. So these tyres are starting to come to their own. He's got to strike while iron's hot though, to be really getting some positions out of this. Because obviously the penalty situation will probably cost him that P7, unfortunately. But you'll probably get it on track. But he's got to get surface this lap, Jens next on, and then pull as much of a gap as he can. It looks like he's not going to get surface this lap. But Kiske is now 2.7. He's not going to close it quick enough to make a difference on this race. I don't think Dome picked up another warning. No. Imagine if he bottled it on the last lap again, like he did in Hungary. As Kiske picks up a second penalty, and that is the nail in the coffin in terms of Kalkas getting his P2 back. I don't think Kalkas picked up another warning. No, he's only got a 1, so he's very unlikely to get that penalty. But they're definitely getting closer. I mean, Kalkas is within like 3 seconds. All he needs to do is get down a penalty, and he's won the race. And it's not a race he's deserved to win. I mean, he's been very good and he's kept it consistent. But Doan has been, after that mistake early on, has really pushed on. But in these closing laps is starting to struggle a lot. And with 1 lap to go, I don't know if he's just managing it. If he picks up a penalty, he's shot it. And he'd have to wait another week to win a race. There's Reke Mesa and Dario. They've been battling for a very long time. Look to be getting even closer. His surface has got past Jens, and CIP is just struggling now behind these two. As he pulled away from Blunt, so he's probably going to get that P9. And it'll be a hard fought P9, and he's put up a good race. It's Messina gets all out of shape going on to the last lap, and Kiske is now 1.7 seconds behind Doan. Doan needs 1 warning and he's lost the race from Kalkas, who's 2.2 behind the race leader. As we've had an incident, it's lots of battles as Dario heads right around the outside of Messina and keeps that P5 for now. Also, CYP's got past the surface. And he'll probably get Jens by the end of this. But won't count for anything. Whereas, now, all that Doan has to do is get Ascari right for one more time. And he's got this one in the bag. Surely. He's going to win his race. We're going to go on board with him. And he looks like he's taking it really nice. Oh, that was close. That was close. But Doan finally looks like he's going to win a race. Coming around the final corner, it's been hard fought. Kiski has done a very good job. So has Kalkas, and Milik's been dragged along to try and catch the leader, but it was too much. And Doan is going to come across the line and he's going to win the Italian Grand Prix in front of the Tifosi, the Bulgarian driver, the first Bulgarian to win in SLR T1. And fair play to him. Dario, is he going to get that P5? He does, ahead of Messina. They were level on penalties. That McLaren is dead on track with Jens getting P8. Surface got P5 because of penalties. Wow, because that's how many penalties Dario and Misa got. Didn't Jens get any penalties though? No. Did Jens make a mistake on the last lap? The surface ended up well ahead. Interesting, I don't really get that. I'm a bit lost. But it was really a good race, really tense at the end, but Doan is the headline act today. And proved in his new Livid Racing colours that he can claim victory. It becomes his first victory in SLR and he'll be so happy, I'm pretty sure of that. He sprays champagne for the first time, for the top step anyway. And he'll be so proud of himself. First league race win as well. So well done to him. And that makes things a little bit more interesting in the championship standings. Obviously Kalka's closing the gap. And so will Doan as well. Connor obviously was nowhere in that race, retiring in the end. But this has been your Italian Grand Prix with Doan claiming victory, Kalkas P2, Kiski P3, Milik's P4, Surface in the end P5. I don't really get how Jens didn't get that P5, because I thought he was ahead on the last lap. Maybe he made a mistake. With Dario P6, Recomess P7, Jens P8. In the end, CYP a 10th was the difference. And P9. And I don't think he got the fastest. I didn't. With Blunt P10. Savage missing out in the Ferrari. Bad day for Ferrari, only 1 point between them. P11. Connor P12. And all the rest have retired. So thank you everybody for joining me for a very nice race of the Italian Grand Prix. We'll be back in half an hour for the T2 race with Jose and Ross commentating for you. I'll be racing. Hopefully we can put a good result in. And I'll see you next week for the Singapore Grand Prix. What a ball fest that will be. But yeah guys, so we'll see you then. Good night.